shit's in the safe. Got me a spot out the way. Nigga just tryna be safe.
Let's get to sports talk.
African American quarterbacks, and what we're just seeing is a result, the culmination of all of the effort throughout the season, the training camp, the preseason, and now you have this group that is representing the AFC, every one of the quarterback slots, and I really wasn't surprised. I'll be honest with you, Jeremy, I would have been surprised if that wasn't the breakdown.
Would you have been more gratified to see Dak Prescott? Many are saying he's the biggest snub of all the Pro Bowl players who were not, all the players who were not named to the rosters, I should say. Yeah,
Jeremy, I think there's definitely an argument to be made that Dak Prescott should be on this team. Now, people look at Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers' team has a much better record. But when you look at the advanced metrics, when you look at things at yards,
it's like they all changed their whole franchise. Like they all put the work in for them. Russell Wilson, he having an MVP type season this year for Seattle. He got his team top of his division. I think they gonna be tied with San Francisco if they win their next game. And he got them in the playoffs, and he having a good year. Lamar Jackson having an MVP season as well, having a career year, past Michael Vick in rushing yards. Patrick Mahomes, since coming back from injury, got his team top of the playoffs, having another MVP type season, even though the injury slowed him down. So they all three of them still having good years. Patrick Mahomes got his team in the playoffs. Since he became a starter his two years in a row, he'd be in the playoffs. And he got his team on the next level as well. Dak. Dak Prescott ain't going. I don't think he ain't in the Pro Bowl because how his team played this year. His team was up and down this year. So that's why he probably ain't in the Pro Bowl, because how the season going for his team. Deshaun Watson, same thing. How he got Houston on a different level. With him, he could put Houston on his back and carry this team to the playoffs. And they, on top of their division, potentially could seal it next week against Tennessee. That's why they all made the Pro Bowl, because what they doing this year for they respectable teams.
Granted, Aaron Rodgers having a great year, very few interceptions in relation to touchdown passes, but you can make a very strong, credible argument, I think, to have Dak Prescott on this team.
And when you're talking about the year of the black quarterback, when you're talking about this culmination, as you put it, of so many different factors, it's not coincidence. It's part of a trend. But where does it all start? How did we get to this point now in 2019 when we weren't here 10 years ago, 40 years after the first black quarterbacks in the NFL?
Yeah, Jimmy, I think it's very interesting. A lot of people will point to the Michael Vick draft in 2001 and say that when Michael Vick was taken #1 overall, first African-American to be taken in that spot.
Right there. When you do certain things and you can change the way people look at a person, Michael Vick, the first African-American quarterback to be taken in the first round by the Falcons. And then he set records when he was playing. The dynamic that he brought to the Falcons when he was with them. And it was an outlook for everyone to try to find a guy just like him. And you see how this era had turned right now. Everyone wants that dynamic quarterback in their organization. You take a look at Kyler Murray, how he changed the Cardinals. The Cardinals had an okay year this year. I think they're going to take a next step next year once they fix everything around him. You see what Deshaun Watson doing in Texas, how he changed the narrative in Texas. how Russell Wilson changed Seattle, helped Seattle get their first Super Bowl in their history. How Lamar Jackson, what he doing for the Ravens, how they missed 3 straight playoffs years since he came the starter. They made 2 on since he was a starter. Dak have a chance to win his division, I think for the 3rd time since he became the starter. Patrick Mahomes, how he doing dynamic things for that offense in Kansas City, how he changed the outcome for them, how he could carry his team as well.
That was the beginning. But other people point to 1999 when 3 African-American quarterbacks were taken in the first round, Donovan McNabb, Akili Smith, and Dante Culpepper, and they say, hey, look, that really signaled that the league was shifting its thinking in terms of what these guys could do ultimately for a franchise. So, I mean, there's that debate, but a lot of people will tell you 1999 is really our jumping off point.
What does this news, the 4 out of 6, and the arguments about whether Prescott should be on the roster or not, say about changing perceptions about black quarterbacks, perceptions that, after all, for so long held back black quarterbacks?
Yeah, Jeremy, and that's the thing. It's the perception. It's what do we think of these players? And as the NFL commemorates its 100th season, it's not a coincidence that when you have a roster loaded with guys who are African-American quarterbacks, it's really about showing that, okay, the league now believes it's not just that these guys have physical tools, but they have the leadership, they have the heart, they have the ability to lead franchises. And I think that's such a significant thing. We've had black quarterbacks for many years, but what we're talking about is guys who are stars, who are going to get these $200 million contracts in the case of Patrick Mahomes, and can be franchise players that organizations build around.
They build around them. It's what they bring to the table for these franchises. The way the offense could be built around them. It's a lot of different ways with them. Sean Watson, he next up to get these type big contracts. Russell Wilson already got his for Seattle. Patrick Mahomes up next to get his from Kansas City. Down the road, Lamar Jackson gonna get his for the Ravens. Dak, he'll get his from the Cowboys very soon. It's just they looking at the outcome of what they bring to the table for them.
So we talk about perception. The perception now is, look, we better go get one of these guys who can do these things because they can lead us to great things.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app and